Oh, we do have the game starting, so let's get straight onto it. Hello everybody, welcome to game 2 of our first semi-final series today. After taking a loss in game 1, which is a pretty serious loss after 20 minutes, it is Vonasten playing as the Soviet Union.
From the Krallian Isthmus, from the woods, he's got a sniper rifle, he's on skis. He's quite frankly darting around you and killing your Ruskies. It's Talisman playing as the OKW. This guy, Dan, is looking monstrous.
Yeah, Talisman has just put on an incredible show, beating CS, beating Helping Hands, beating Love Nest, the #1 seed. Now he's up against Vonasten, and I would say this is Vonasten's, at least I think, the first big event that Vonasten has kind of come to light in the scene. And he's doing a very, very good job, even though he hasn't won the last game.
He just cried, Dan, when you said that. What about UTT?
Well, okay.
You cast that?
1v1 big event.
Ah, yes, there we go.
I don't know if you heard that, maybe my mic cut out. Sorry, Curie. Thanks again for the 29 months sub. And
the first time we've ever seen him in a big tournament.
That's not what I was trying to say.
I know. I'm just
But, anyway, let's have a look at the early game, because a couple of things we see here. OKW, this is important. Talisman was doing this with every faction he plays, is getting green cover positions up. Really, really important that he does that. You see Vonasten here building the green cover sandbag. He's also wiring off any opportunity for Talisman to come from the other side and get green cover. So this is one thing I think a lot of really good players do, is they go and terraform a part of the map that they expect to be pushed in later on, making sure that they get the advantage on that area. Hopefully we get to see that continue. A little bit of scouting here from Talisman at the start, and do we see anything special, AE?
Not quite yet, no. This is pretty standard fare. I just want to draw people's attention to the fact that there's 2 rows of barbed wire on that cover, and that's actually so you don't get any green cover benefits, and you don't negate the closing distance of the green cover. I believe it's 6 game meters. Cruzy, can you please verify this? To actually keep the benefits of green cover versus your opponent. So it's just doubling up, to be honest, and making sure the stats work in your favor. Not 100% sure how that works, but I'm just pretty sure that's what he's trying to do.
Yeah, there's always, like, if you stand near it, you still get the cover. Do you know what I mean? You can kind of see it. You can kind of see it on the edge there. It's a frustrating mechanic, to be honest.
It is, yeah. It really is.
I'm sure it's changed as well, because I'm sure it never used to be like that.
Yeah. A lot of the games like that. It's almost like an art form coming to Heroes within a science at times. Conscripts coming and tagging in for their combat engineer brethren just to keep the fuel in Vonasten's favour. But also be cognizant of the fact that Talisman has already whittled his opponent's victory point score down by 30 VPs, and that certainly seems to be what he targets and how he expects to win a game. And at the end of the day, Dan, there may be about 9 resources in Company Heroes, but that's certainly the most important at the game's end.
It is, and if you thought, I mean, before he was obviously taking the VPs down, Talisman was taking them away when he was playing as the allies to make sure that his late game is going to be like high pressure for Vonasten. Well, it's really, really good if he's going to whittle down allied VPs in this game as Axis, because that's just huge pressure to perform. It's going to give him such staying power, chances to recover, and time to recover if things go wrong. It's really good forward thinking. I do love the VP play.
Do you know what I really like? I like Talisman's control of infantry squads. He's gotten 5 Votes Grenadiers. And also note to people in chat, this is the evolving infantry dynamic meta. It's all about getting a high DPS unit. Sorry, I'm not looking at the Stern Pioneer, Dan. It's all about getting the high DPS unit and hiding it in ambush. And there's a hell of a lot more of that going on. I'm not saying it's new and people didn't do it before, but it's very prevalent this year. It's the way to counter snipers, as shown by Momo for show yesterday. And it's just a way to spring out on your opponent. And it's a really nice evolution of play.
Things are getting a lot better like that, and we just see that line of sight, I think, has become more important. Don't know if you remember, like patches and patches ago, there was changes to the way that units clump in cover and all sorts. So actually things are a lot better and more reliable when stealth now as well. So there's plenty to play with in this game. There's more ways to play in Company of Heroes now than there have ever been. thanks to patch improvements in the game. So it'd be interesting to see if anyone really wants to make use of factions and units.
Nice work from that Maxim there, teaming up with the 9 Mosin Nagant rifles to put the damage down on those Sturm Pioneers. I just want a big shout out to the community patch, as I know Mr. Smith doesn't watch this, and I think Mirage of Law might, and anybody that helps them out. I mean, you do get a tough time. I mean, I particularly was a bit critical because I quite frankly, I didn't want the game to be patched so close to GCS2. But they're not doing a bad job, are they? Because this game is in a great state, so big shout out to them. And back to your regularly scheduled action, I guess.
They've done a good job. This is a potential late retreat here from Talisman. Not expecting that, really. I thought maybe we would have called that off. There's actually 2 engagements I've seen so far where Talisman had no chance of winning that he did stay in, which is a bit of a manpower waste, to be honest. Not sure what the reason for that was, because he certainly isn't stalling for anything. This is a great pop by the Volksgrenadiers getting into that building. Conscripts will lose models if they stay, so that's really good. Manages to get that strategic decap on the left side. So
excellent.
Good pressure from Talisman.
It's just a neutralization, though, and he's not going to be able to stall for it. You really ideally want to take that cutoff and then hide behind the that green cover truck to the left of the cutoff. And if you don't be able to do that, you've barely caused a dent in your opponent's economy, in all honesty.
Vonasten's paying a little more attention to VPs this game. In fact, he's going for the triple cap. If there's anything he learned from that last game, it's the level of pressure that was applied from this. Luke's in the build from Talisman. He did, of course, go for the Mechanized Regiment OKW. And we do have Vonasten as guard motor. So guards can come on the field to push this unit away. Talisman's going to be confident, I think, with 5 Volksgrenadiers that he can defend it, though.
Absolutely. I mean, is he going to attack? Yeah, I'll just take the anti-tank grenades straight away and just keep the Lukes at bay that way. It's a good thing about conscripts. They're not very good at killing infantry, but they're great at stalling. And that's what they do. They offer themselves as a meat shield until the Soviet player can build something better. And they're very good at capping the map and getting shot at. It's not a great job, but it's what they do. It's almost like what a penal battalion should do. And then the penal battalion are Ubermensch guys with all this great kit. But no, it seems to work.
Luke's has just made its first opening on the map right now. There are guards on the field, but no other form of 18. I haven't seen many mines, if any, planted by Vonasten so far. It's the role of the Volksgrenadiers to push the guards away right now as the Luke's does work to the Maxim. This engagement is, I think, important for Talisman, potentially taking double fuel.
Nice incendiary grenade as well to push away the guards to allow the Lukes to advance upon the Maxim, and Vonasten knows it and he's had to full retreat away. Elsewhere in the north, we've got Sturm Pioneers versus 2 conscript squads. That Sturm Pioneer is stalling out because he wants to protect the fuel. But even if the Sturm Pioneers has to retreat down, look at Talisman. He's already got 2 Volksgrenadiers in position behind green cover. So this is deep defense now, and this is exactly how Talisman plays. It doesn't matter if the Sturm Pioneer falls, because there's a second line of defense behind it. And that's incredibly tactically astute gameplay.
Stalling with units and longing out the engagements. Again, time is a resource. There's no way those conscripts wanted to be sitting there firing at Sturm Pioneers long range. The green cover is really important for that. I love the fact that they build so much of it.
As I say, the impressive thing is he's preparing not just for that engagement, but the one that follows it. So he could bring the Volksgrenadiers into position and help out the Sturm Pioneers, but no, he plays on a slightly different way. He actually prepares for the next engagement already. And winning gunfights in Company Heroes is much like any FPS game or any actual military confrontation. And one of the #1 rules is always fight on your terms. Let them come to you. And that's how Talisman plays. And it's riveting. Look at all this action.
Let them come to you.
That's what he does,
though. It's been 3 hours of this grueling semi-final series.
I often say that,
so,
go
on. Tier 3 had gone up for Vonasten. He's going to be bringing out the T-70. It's going to be a response to the Lukes, as well as the guards that are on the field. I mean, there is enough infantry, capable infantry, to play here. I'm surprised that Vonasten isn't pushing more. We've got mines laid down on the north. But I have to say, the Lukes has been quite menacing. Love the positioning from the Stern Pioneers as well. You see they were hiding in the house, so that as soon as the squad got in, they were ready and firing at the door.
Good ambush tactics. I'm starting to see a little bit as well how Talisman is able to control so many infantry squads at the same time. He doesn't. He anchors them behind green cover, and then that allows him to keep the others in rotation. A little bit of a late retreat there. Will he get punished? Got conscripts filling around this bush, trying to get a nice squad wipe here. Will Vonasten be able to pull it off? He's going to focus fire now. Let's see if he manages to do it.
I think if he'd have stood still and taken shots, he would have had that squad wipe. He missed the perfect opportunity for that rare.
He did. What was that about? He didn't focus fire.
Sure. That was a real failure, actually.
It was, yeah. He should have. I mean, everybody in the world would have expected all 12 of those Mosin Nagant rifles to turn, you know, 90 degrees to the south and shoot those last two models, and they didn't. That's odd.
Oh, look at this. Stern Pioneers are still there. And they're going to be taking down the MG, which isn't even focused firing on them. It's actually focused on the MG in the other building. There are Volksgrenadiers hiding behind the line of sight on the left. Missed an opportunity to Faust the T-70. And Luke's is just on its own on the right-hand side. Could be doing some more work.
Look at these Volksgrenadiers behind the bush. He's waiting for an ambush. There he's going to try and Faust. What have you seen?
Oh my word! Infiltration grenades!
Oh, infiltration! Eat your heart out. That's exactly what that was. Those Volksgrenadiers were in the bushes, Dan.
That was incredible. That's what he was waiting for. I thought it was going to be the Faust on the T-70. No, it wasn't. He was waiting for those squads to get there, and look at the carnage that came from that.
Can I just talk about the Manstein Line and the Winter War, where the Soviets attacked poor old Finland and Stalin thought it'd be over in 2 weeks, Dan? The Finns hid in the trees. They let columns of Soviets march past them until it was too late, and then ambushed them through the trees, Molotoved their tanks and sniped their infantry, and it was a massacre. They had 10-to-1 casualties, and that's I'm not trying to be nationalistic here, but it's very reminiscent, and it's quite cool the fact that Talisman is Finnish, because it is one of the coolest military stories in history, and I'd like to pretend that was a small microcosm of that.
It's interesting. You're very full of facts, eh?
Thank you, and that was a perfect opportunity to do an analogy because it was literal 100% awesomeness.
We've got the Boomer here, may have found the T-70 out. Will Talisman push? There is a mine on the north side, and actually Vonasten hasn't baited that direction, which is interesting. I thought he'd have chosen the path of the mine. Maxon there struggling to suppress the Volksgrenadiers in green cover. Vonasten fighting for those VPs, and Talisman's playing so defensively with the Volksgrenadiers. I really like this because they don't really have so much power when they're playing so aggressively out of cover, but where he's positioned himself is nearly allowing him to win all engagements.
So got Vonasten starting to get a little bit more aggressive now in the south, but as we already mentioned, Talisman's waiting for him. Wherever he tries to attack, Talisman's got a prepared defense, and people might accuse Talisman of being defensive. Like, you know, in boxing, Dan, you got Mayweather, Floyd Moneyweight Mayweather. He's a defensive counterpuncher. He lets people come to him and he just hits them in the face. That's what Talisman's doing. He's like, come at me, bro. I'll hit you in the face. And you got lesser educated sports fans who will watch Mayweather and go, oh my god, you know, what a wimp. he's worth £100 million.
Have you seen Talisman here stopping with the Lukes really quickly? So he's kind of moving, then he's stopping the Lukes to get the higher accuracy on the models that are retreating. And do you know what? I don't see enough players doing this with their vehicles. There is an accuracy reduction modifier. You know, when you're moving, it's like one of the realism features of the game. And Talisman, watch him when he does it. You can see him stop the vehicles as they fire.
So exciting.
He's great vehicle control.
Dude, he's playing awesomely. I actually 100% approve. Speaking to people yesterday, I hadn't actually watched the Talisman games fully, just the one I did cast, that Decider. And people were like a little bit, oh my god, all these games are lasting so long, why is he doing that? Seeing him play, he's got a plan. I don't want to gush too much about him, we've got to give Vonasten some credit on everything he's done, but in this game, let's be honest, Talisman's manhandling him. Oh, Rakenverth was waiting for the T-70. The Puma's now going to target it.
He's under pressure to ground attack. He nearly got that. He nearly got the shot with the Raketten unfortunate for Vonasten there. If he'd have lost that, that would have been a serious situation. Conscripts are Uraring in. Looks like they want to try and get the 18-8 on, and Talisman hasn't got there in time. Doesn't look like there's enough damage done. Stern Pioneers are still repairing, even through the Maxim.
Yeah, for all that hail of bullets, there's still got a few bits of blowtorching in. Oh, what's this conscript doing? It's a good job that STG Focus Grenadier is suppressed, because it'd be dead otherwise.
Well, he had actually to do that because there were infiltration nades behind where he was. So he actually had to run forward. He couldn't have retreated at that point. Tripwire flares from the conscripts here. I like that. That's Vonasten laying signals, knowing that Talisman's on the left-hand side and going to take VPs.
In a way, then. Remember when we cast all those Talisman second place defeats in ESL? We like had 5 of them way back in the day. We cast all of them, didn't we? He kept coming second, basically. Came second 5 times. He's like, you know, it feels like he's an old friend, and we've now seen him really kick it up a notch. Maxim about to be stolen to divert our attention. That is really bad for Vonasten.
I'm starting to think he's maybe lost too much, and another thing he's lost too much of course, VPs, which have gone down below 200 now. These infiltration grenades have been so useful for Talisman. He's had such great effect with them.
It really has. They've been devilish, and they're quite cheap. 15 munitions. Obviously, you have to be out of combat for a certain amount of time, but let's face it, Talisman he's waiting in cover, and he's recharging those infiltration grenade timers, and then he's got cheap grenades. It's working really well. Oh, KD. It's a 2.0 KD right now for Talisman.
Wow.
I mean, usually with Soviets, you expect a 1.5 KD against Soviets rather, but 2.0 is a big KD. That's 50% more than you'd expect.
Talisman not repairing his loops there with the Stern Pioneers. Not sure if he set up a command and they've missed that. So
No,
wasting a little bit of time there. Needs to get that back on the field and keep the pressure up. Where's the Raketten right now? Because that Raketten's going to need to keep putting pressure on the T-70. I won't blame him too much. I feel like with Talisman, you know, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, he's got so many Focus Grenadiers.
You don't want to come down too hard on him when he's not doing something, because you know there's about 50 other things that...
We've spoken about him like he's a god. Oh god, God's not shined his shoes today, huh? Boomer's going in for something. What's he looking for there? Interesting. Vonasten actually has a lot of fuel. Just not had the manpower to spend it, because he's gotten 2 guard squads. A second now out, and that's made his manpower income, you know, not what he'd want it to be, considering how much bleed he has. You know, and Soviets suffer with a lot of that. They have a lot of 6-man squads. You're having to upgrade them constantly, and it means you're not able to leap out onto your next tier of play. Having watched a lot of Von Ivan's streams over the past several months, you know, you see that the top-level Soviet players do fall into a manpower sink, and I believe Vonasten's currently suffering a bit of that right now.
Yeah, the engagements aren't going well for him. I think times like this as well, where you got 2 squads suppressed, he isn't going to gain anything in this situation. So may as well just remove the units and try again. And just seeing the Lukes and the Stern Pioneers clear out the right side again. Talisman hasn't been quick enough to see the AT grenade come in there, and the T-70 is there now. Don't think there's a snare.
There's no snare on the retreat path. The Stern Pioneers could get targeted first. This could be what Vonasten needs. Target the Stern Pioneers, finish off the Lukes. Is it going to happen? No, he misses the Stern Pioneers. Will he get the finishing blows on the Lukes? No, he won't. Here comes Big Daddy Boomer, and it could turn very badly for Vonasten right now.
That was a missed opportunity, I think. I can understand why he would go for the Stern Pioneers, remove the repair capability outside of the mechanized regiment, but I definitely think that he had a chance to get the Lukes that was missed.
I just think that unfortunately he gambled there and he was unlucky. You know, you do get unlucky sometimes in Company Heroes. There is RNG elements, but you know, they're part of the package. He made a calculated risk assessment there. He thought, right, I'm going to go for the Stern Pioneers. Damn, just about missed. And now I've made myself vulnerable. You know, it's risk-reward. It's carrot and stick, and this time he got the stick.
I hate it when you get the stick.
Yeah, me too. I always love the carrot. I'm like, please give me the carrot. Oh, the stick again, for God's sake. But he's in a good position to keep trying. He's only lost a T70, 70 fuel, 200 odd manpower, so it's not the end of the world, quite frankly. Oh, well, now it is.
Is the end of the world is the command
okay.
actually.
Okay, take it back. Now the end of the world.
SU-76 in the build for Vonasten. I actually like the choice. If there's anything that will start a bit of a comeback, it's those kind of cheap anti-tank units, ones that can also barrage, help with the support, also help with the tanks. So he needs a multi-purpose unit like that. I think the SU-76 is a good choice.
It's a good choice if he had 300 more victory points and hadn't lost so much, and it was 10 minutes ago. I do not foresee Vonasten getting back into this. I think his lack of a tier 2, he had tier 2, sorry, his lack of units that survived out of tier 2, and lack of Ziskuns in particular has hampered him here. Going for a second guard squad. But you can talk about build orders all you want. At the end of the day, Talisman's just played a bit more sharply.
Yeah. This game can come down to some big moments. I think infiltration nades was a huge moment. I mean, there's little things like that that you can do. Sort of great minds in the last game. I'm not sure if I was expecting the series to be kind of the 40-50 minutes total. He does not want to lose this SU-76 straight away. Puma goes in. And I'm going to use it. It's that 3-punch wombo combo.
Just make your own phrases. Why don't you just adopt, like, change them slightly, give them a stormless twist or something? It's fine. You have free rights.
More humble.
We're a team. No, we're not to say that yet. Don't say the secret word. We're saving that. That'll be for like the perfect Hands of Earth barrage. You know. And that is a stormless original. You can take that one. I think you did original. That's our secret weapon this tournament.
Well, I don't see much in the way of chances for Vonasten right now. He's trying to get the VP on the right. He needs to maybe focus VP center. Instead, it looked like he was going for the strategic decap to remove resources. Not sure about that decision. You've only got 40 VPs left, Vonasten.
The MG was there. He needs to flank the MG, get the grenade off, I think. But he's all out of ideas and fresh out of luck. And yeah. 34 victory points are going to slowly ebb away as Vonasten's first chance to qualify is extinguished. But Dan, he'll be back later today in the third place playoff, fighting for an extra 3 GCS qualification points, which are extremely important and will stack up and could be his way to qualify.
I think, yeah, I love this. You know, it is the first qualification round, Barbarossa, and I think there's a lot of top-level players who probably thought they'd have an easier ride in this tournament who are going to have to seriously up their game to keep up with the top levels. And it's really interesting. I think this is, you know, because we've got 4 qualifiers, there's enough time for people to go, actually, my game isn't tight enough. And they could probably do with looking at replays like this and you know, build counter strategies, study a little bit more about where they decided to attack and build line of defense. But there we go. Vonasten has been defeated 2-0 in this series by Talisman. GG.
GG indeed.
All right, wow, what a first series. And our semi-finals today. Well played to Talisman and well played to Vonasten as well, who didn't put on a bad show by any means.
Well, yeah, it was a disappointing day for Vonasten. I think he'll be disappointed with his performance, but as we've already mentioned, it's a quadruple elimination.